Halfway through the final turn, Swedes got demoralized. The results of the attacks that they made ended up opening up a couple of units, one of which is gone. Over here under what, Tiefel? They just hit their 75 points, I believe. 10, 20, 30, 44, 59, 60, 75. What does that mean? It affects the victory conditions a little bit, I think, but in general, the main thing that it does is it makes it so that their disordered units no longer can recover, and they get more movement points. Presumably to leave the map. Because of the situation and the lateness of the battle, it's probably not going to mean a hell of a lot. I don't think it affects victory conditions too much. I'll tell you more about that when I wrap it up. But yeah, they got one more attack coming, which they may not want to even make. So I finished up the situation. The Swedes got another artillery shot in. Total victory points, basically you just add up the strength points you kill. Leaders count as 3. It's got to be killed stuff, not like the Saxons that left the map. Some extra points for capturing all the artillery on the board. But anyway, the Imperials ended up with 145, the Swedes to 113. I would say it's a fairly major victory for the Imperials, even though their army also was demoralized at the end of the game. So what am I going to say about this sucker? It's a hard call. It's not the kind of game I usually like. There's no question there. I like more complicated and more detailed systems to handle tactical games. But there's something remarkably pleasant about something this simple. I mean, the fact is, when I first learned the game, reading this is one of my very first war game purchases. I got 7 magazine games for a couple bucks. When I first bought the game, it was actually possible to learn, and I'm like 11 years old or something. It's only what, 3 pages of rules and another couple pages of exclusive rules. The combat charts, etc. Very, very simple. The whole series, I would like to own the rest of it. There's no way I could afford it. And I would only really want to own the real ones. I wouldn't want to own something with a shiny map and shiny counters. I love the components on these suckers. I love the matte quality. There's no glare on the map. Nothing slips. But anyway, back to... and you know, these guys, when you bought them by subscription, it was under $2 a game with the magazine included. And that was just an amazing period for wargaming in general. You can't mind getting something that maybe isn't exactly your taste when you're paying about the same price as for another magazine. Anyway, what can I say about the system? Very, very fluid. Doesn't give you the feeling that it's absolutely historical at all, but it allows you know, a nice little way to demonstrate ideas of tactical superiority, being able to concentrate your forces in a certain location, etc. It's better, I think, historically than the old Avalon Hill games that preceded it. I like the aspect of you have to hit something twice to kill it for real. I thought that was a cute factor. I like how artillery are very, very weak, but can be the key to the game if you just let them sit there. They will get. There's a lot of luck with the artillery, and with the combat chart too. I mean, you know, whether or not you're hosed by an attack you make, even at a good odds, an exchange can be very, very painful to you. Whereas if you don't get an exchange, you're in pretty good shape. Non-rigid zones of control completely change the game. I mean, if you're used to playing these kind of games with the rigid zones of control, this particular series is very interesting for not having. It means you can slip around and do stuff that you couldn't do in a lot of the other games. Overall, I say it's a great game to start somebody out with. It may be a good game for a couple hours, very competitive type play. The problem with the competitive is the high luck factor. A good roll here and there totally changes this game. Certainly the Imperial Artillery luck was definitely something which slanted the game in their favor. Normally I think the game's a little slanted in the Swedes' favor. I'm not positive about that. But yeah, for a simple game, I think it's a lot of fun. And I think you can find that with most of that Quadra game. I haven't played any of the others, but my feeling is that they were developed more for gameplay experience than they were for trying to be historically accurate and getting a lot of details down. Comparing it to the Musket and Pike series, it's just ridiculous. I mean, you can't. Musket and Pike is a serious tactical war game. This, I think, was, for its time, was vaguely claiming that, but the war games of that time just largely were fairly simple. All right.